All right, guys, are we ready? Locked and loaded, kiddo.
Ready as I'll ever be. Let's do it.
Okay. Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger. After a few months of 90s nostalgia, it is finally time to dive back into some brand new Power Rangers content. Let's get back to Power Rangers Beast Morphers by taking a look.
Not so fast, kiddo. So, how was your hiatus? Did you have fun reviewing that god-awful dreck I chained you to?
Hey now, Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills is actually just as interesting as I remember it being.
You would think that, wouldn't you? But alas, I'm not here to argue Power Rangers ripoffs with you. Let me just take a look at your little phone here. I see. Yes, it looks like you managed to review 12 whole episodes of that show before the hiatus ended. Not too bad. But alas, that lovely little curse I gifted you with demanded that you review all 40. Looks like you lose, Orange Blunder.
It's not like you gave me enough time, you know. The hiatus only lasted 20 weeks. The hiatus lasted 20 weeks. Nimbar on a platter, that's too long.
Don't you try to wiggle your way out of this. 2 episodes a week of that show? You couldn't handle that? Just because I haven't been around doesn't mean I haven't been watching. You cut your video output from 3 videos a week down to 2. Because it was too hard.
Hey, don't you dare mock managing a workload to maintain mental health, you chrome-faced ghost freak!
You dare to insult me when you are responsible for my appearance? Oh, I am really gonna relish this now.
You know, I may really hate you, but you're right. I didn't get it done. You win. You want my reviewer's energy? Come get it.
Time's up, boring failure. It's all mine now.
Now,
Huh?
I call on the Dragon Dagger. Ha!
Seriously, did you really think that was going to be enough?
We ain't done, Shiny.
Impressive! Remind me to mount your mechanical head after my victory!
You aren't mounting anything.
Blast you, mechanical annoyances!
And now the Master Touch. A little bit of Pokemon. Pokeball! Ha!
You fool! Do you really think I can be caught in a Pokeball like some mere Snorlax?
Oh, I realize that. But gee, I sure hope mixing all of this dimensional energy doesn't result in something weird happening.
What? No! It's not fair! I played this one by the book! You're the one that's cheating!
It's pretty simple, Shiny. Good defeats evil. I don't know where you're going, but I would suggest you stay there.
You haven't heard the last of me! That curse remains on you, Orange Ranger! It links us! Soon enough I'll be drawn right back here! Have fun fearing my return!
Kaizoku, scan now.
No readings. I'm not detecting Silver Skull's energy anywhere. I think we did it.
Dang right we did it. Chromeface is done for good. I wish I could feel as sure about that. I want you two to investigate his claim that the curse is going to somehow draw him back here. In the meantime, that little trick used up a lot of reviewers' energy. I better get back to work and start recharging that battery. Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and many of us have been waiting months for this moment. Our leather-clad superheroes are finally back in action after their long summer hiatus, and nobody is more excited about that than me. Let's see what happens when Evox forces decide that, no, they really do want to have that robot body by taking a look at the 9th episode of Power Rangers Beast Morphers, Silver Sacrifice. Due to Hasbro's release of several Content ID claims on my videos, I have decided to risk using screen caps again. If I get another claim, they go away. However, I am keeping the length of those screen caps to less than 7 seconds, so when I talk long on a particular point, there will be a gap in the screen caps. A screen gap, if you will. As usual, the episode starts on Molecula, where Emperor Gorganis is Force of Habit. This episode starts in the Grid Battle Force lab, where Nate is looking over the new Rangers' new Zord blueprints, the Jet Zord and the Wrecker Zord. Steel walks by, saying he's going to dominate the simulation room, but Nate reminds him that he's due for a maintenance check. Steel brushes this off, wondering why Nate cares so much about his maintenance. Okay, sure, they share DNA, they're family. But if he were to be destroyed, Nate could always just make another one. Not so, says Nate, pointing out how complex Steel actually is, but also the fact that family is irreplaceable. This gets through to Steel, and he says that they can do some shared maintenance, aka exercise, like climbing Mount Everest. Nate backs that down to going for a jog, and Steel agrees. Meanwhile, at the warehouse that is apparently located inside Coral Harbor's version of the Bermuda Triangle, considering Grid Battle Force doesn't seem to be able to scan the thing, Scrozzle and the Tronics are hard at work repairing the Cybergate. Roxy asks how long these repairs are going to take.
Quiet, you.
Scrozzle says it's their fault that Nate tricked them, and now they have 2 new Rangers to deal with. Blaze tells Scroz to calm down. They have a plan to get that robot body back for Evox. Scrozzle asks how they're going to find those Rangers.
Do something! Do something! Do something!
Go blow something up? Prepare for this to be a common theme of this episode, but Steel is a Power Ranger. You want the Power Rangers to show up? Go into town and start shooting things. Pretty sure they'll show up pretty quick. But no, their actual genius plan is to turn this TV aerial into Antennatron and use it to listen to Grid Battle Force transmissions, which should really be frequency encrypted, but I guess if not for plot convenience, then evil would never get anything accomplished. Nate and Steel get back from their jog, and Nate asks if Steel would like to go look at their new Zords. Of course he does, so they head to the Zord Bay. As they admire their Zords, General Burke walks in, greeting the two. Steel demonstrates that their Striker Morphers are also blasters by shooting a hole in the ceiling. Then it's time for, Zordon, not you two again, Ben and Betty. For reasons that have been lost to recorded history, the two are standing on top of Nate's Zord, mopping it. Gotta get that streak-free shine, I guess. Their dad calls up and tells them to be careful, so of course they immediately fall, sliding down the Wrecker Zord's ladder arm and landing in a big bubbly vat of cleaner.
I have several questions.
What were they doing up there? Why does a brand new Zord need to be cleaned? And why were they not wearing safety restraints for climbing that high up? Oh, Sean, calm down. This is the haha funny kids moment.
Okay, dude, calm down. Take a chill pill.
No, this is stupid and it's dangerous. Sure, Power Rangers, let's just teach kids that it's perfectly safe to climb up on top of really high stuff and then slide down. What could possibly go wrong? I am able to move on, only because these two are somewhat redeemed later on. Nate pulls the episode's focus away from the comic relief, telling the General that all they need is his authorization to fuel the Zords up with Morph-X, and they will be battle ready. And all the General needs is for Nate to fill out about a couple of thousand forms here, because he needs every T crossed and every I dotted. Weird, I don't remember the other Rangers having to do this. And Nate already was a Grid Battle Force employee. Ben and Betty volunteer to do the paperwork for Nate, which either would not be helpful or they just readily admitted that they plan to forge documents in order to help a friend. Nate gladly passes the task off to them. Then the other Rangers contact Nate, making a rather late appearance in this episode. They've just finished some forest training and were wondering if Nate and Steel wanted to hang out at the gym. Roxy and Blaze have found the Grid Battle Force frequency and overhear this, heading out to intercept them. Nate and Steel head to the gym, a passerby complimenting Nate's robot, because walking talking robots are just par for the course in Coral Harbor. They go to head inside, but oops, Roxy's finger slipped, blasting at them. Roxy says she's after that steely hunk, and Blaze also raises his eyebrows. Anyway, Nate says they're going to have to go through him, and Blaze and Roxy are perfectly fine with that, summoning Tronics! After some of another great civilian fight that is just part of the reason that I missed this show so much, the Tronics swarm Steel, threatening to pin him down. Theme song! Commercials! Nate helps Steel get free of the Tronics and they hide behind a car. Zoe and Ravi blast Blaze and Roxy back and then join them. The Rangers put together why they want Steel so much, not that it wasn't pretty obvious, and the Rangers take off. Blaze is upset that they got away, but Roxy preaches patience. They're going to hear their next chance soon enough. Returning to the base, the Rangers fill General Burke in. He naturally concludes that if Steel is Evox's ticket out of the cyber dimension, Steel should be immediately shut down and secured. The Rangers protest, of course, because Steel is Nate's family, and shutting him down wouldn't be right. So I'm just not going to be able to save complaining about this one for the cons, but I will drag my way through this scene first. General Burke is dismissive that Nate considers Steel to be his brother. They don't bother explaining to the General that they literally share DNA, and stands firm. His orders are for Steel to be shut down and stored in the vault. Everyone treats this like a death sentence for Steel, even Steel himself. Not sure why he couldn't just be temporarily deactivated and stored securely until the Rangers figured this all out. But as I said, I have one slightly gigantic, massive problem with this entire premise. Steel is a Power Ranger! He is a part of the team that is protecting this city, General, that you seem to be so concerned about doing. You are making the Rangers weaker by ordering one of the Rangers to be permanently shut down. Yes, his reasoning does make sense. My objection is more with the fact that nobody seems to bring this up. Steel is the Silver Ranger!
Okay, dude, calm down. Take a chill pill.
Quiet, you.
Ben and Betty run after their father, hoping to change his mind, while the other Rangers assure Steel that nobody is shutting him down. They come up with that same neutralize the threat idea, but without the temporarily deactivating him part. You see, Steel plus Cybergate equals bad times, so if they're not willing to get rid of Steel, they're just going to have to get rid of the Cybergate. They sneak Steel into a box and drive away. General Burke tries to find Steel, stopping a very pretty Grid Battle Force worker and asking if she's seen him. His kids catch up, saying that they've completed the Zord paperwork. Why can they be the ones to fill it out again? Setting it on the shredder that Officer Pretty was using. He tells them that the Rangers have gone rogue and orders them to search the base for them from top to bottom. Ben asks about the Zord paperwork, but Officer Pretty put it into the shredder not knowing what it was. And this is really the worst scene of the episode for these two, and maybe of the season, screaming in anguish, and Darth Vader knows, while the pieces of the paperwork flutter slowly through the air.
That was not funny.
Antennatron reports a new transmission, receiving one from an aide from Grid Battle Force, telling General Burke exactly where the Rangers are, and he asks for exact coordinates.
That was easy.
The Rangers head back to the exact same industrial site as before, which is nice set consistency. There are Tronics on guard, but they move off. Steele starts to move in, but Robbie says that no, he cannot get close to the Cybergate. Devin says that he has a plan. We're not necessarily going to get to hear what that plan is, as then General Burke and Grid Battle Force soldiers show up. Ben and Betty came along for some reason, scampering off somewhere else for another reason that's completely unclear, except for plot convenience. The Rangers insist that they have a plan, but the General is done listening to them since they have disobeyed orders. Then Blaze and Roxy walk up, having captured Ben and Betty while they were looking at a cute dog or something. This is where things start getting really good. Burke asks Blaze and Roxy, who naturally he knows, to give his children back. Sure, they say, give us that robot and we'll give them right back to you. The General doesn't know what to do. Obviously giving them Steele means Evox gets free, but he wants his kids back. Steele makes the decision easy for him. You see, from Nate, he's learned the importance of family, and from Devin, he's learned that the Power Rangers help people in need. He offers to surrender himself in exchange for Ben and Betty. Interestingly enough, Blaze and Roxy actually honor the agreement, although there wasn't probably anything that they needed Ben and Betty for. They probably remembered how annoying the two of them are. The General heard how emotional the conversation was between Nate and Steele, and as Blaze and Roxy walk away with Steele, he apologizes for how he treated the robot earlier. Nate, and Nimbar on a platter, Abraham Rodriguez is acting in this scene, tells the General he can't stand for this, he has to try and save his brother. Hey, here's a plan, probably the one Devin had a couple minutes ago. Morph and kick some butt. This is the first time we get to see Nate's morphing sequence, and it's good. I think. The mantis looks weird, but so do all the other animals, so that's fine. The weirdest part is that they do a four-way morph where Devin and Zoe are front and center and slightly larger than Ravi and Nate on the sides. Now, I am normally all for giving more props to the Lady Ranger, but this is really Nate's moment to shine. By the way, to morph, he puts the key into the back of the morpher near the point where it bends. The Rangers fight through the Tronics and head inside, but they're too late. Evox has already fully downloaded himself into Steele's body. However, something then goes wrong. There are fluctuations, and then Steele is flung away and Evox back into the Cybergate. So what happened? Evox himself actually explains. His virus is no longer compatible with Steele's body because Steele is now part human. Of course, as we've seen, when Evox's virus encounters people who are completely human, it generates avatars of them, but I guess being half robot protected him from that fate.
All right, let's get started before my headache gets any worse.
Steele summons the Striker Saber, a weapon I don't believe we've seen yet, but basically it's a sword that can turn into a steering wheel and destroys the console, sending Evox back to the Cyber Dimension. Roxy tells Scrozzle that they can still go back to the Cyber Dimension themselves and send a Gigadrone. Blaze summons more Tronics, and the three leave, Antennatron and the Tronics taking on the Rangers. Steele does not morph for the exact same reason that Ben and Betty were on top of Nate's Zord. The fight heads outside into some very nice Sentai footage. Scrozzle sends Antenna Droid, and props to Scrozzle, by the way, for using the word razzmatazz. Commander Shaw calls Devin and tells her that Cruz is on his way, and she's sending the Racer Zord. It stands up into battle mode and starts taking on the giant robot. While Devin at first has the upper hand, Antenna Droid deploys a couple of Gigatronics, making things a little bit tougher. Oh, by the way, Steel is morphed now. I guess we're saving that morphing sequence for another episode. Seeing the trouble, General Burke asks his kids how that paperwork is coming along. For goodness sake, is he actually having them fill it out again? No, even worse, he's having them piece it back together from the shredder. They have completed a single page, so he says, screw the rules, and authorizes the fueling of the new Zords, sending them out. The Wrecker and Jet Zords can teleport directly into battle, a nice new feature that shows advancing technology. Nate tells Steel to follow his lead, and they change their Zords into their animal modes. Steel's Scarab Zord and Nate's Mantis Zord. Okay, we're gonna address this quickly. In the Sentai, the Gold Ranger was not a praying mantis, he was a rhinoceros beetle. I really do not have nearly the problem with this that some other people do. It's not like knowing what a shark looks like versus what a whale looks like. Does his Zord look like a praying mantis? No, not really, but to be honest with you, in their animal modes, the Gold and Silver Zords really don't look like much of anything, so I'm fine with that. I'd say that more kids know what a praying mantis is versus specifically knowing what a rhino beetle is.
Get on with it!
Fair enough. Hey, here's a neat trick. The two land their Zords on the Gigatronics, and just like bugs sucking sap out of a tree, drain Morph X from them. That's handy. Ravi and Zoe are in a very familiar position, left on the ground to take care of the Robotron. They form their Beast X cannons and blast the thing away. Continuing a very quick wrap-up, Nate and Steel destroy the Gigatronics. Devin summons his Cheetah Beast Blaster, and gun slashes the Gigadrone away. Back at the base, the Rangers are doing what Grid Battle Force should have done the first time, bringing the components of the Cybergate in to be secured in the vault. According to Steel, without the components, they cannot build the Cybergate. Because, surely Scrozzle can't find those components anywhere else, or, make them now that he's scanned the components. Totally safe. It's fine. Really, they paint this as the reason that it's safe to have Steel around now, versus what Evox himself said he can't infect Steel because Steel has human DNA. Anyway, Burke apologizes again and says he's glad there are two new Rangers around to give them a hand. Steel takes this literally, saying he's happy to lend a hand, but he's gonna need it back. The Rangers all think he's making a joke, Burke even tossing in a few more hand puns, but Steel is confused. Well, since I'm done reading signs for now, I guess it's time to go back to throwing these shades. Episode 9, Silver Sacrifice. Pros, Abraham Rodriguez's amazing acting, the core moral of family, and the brand new Zords. Cons, Ben and Betty, ignoring what Steel is drives the plot, and very quick wrap-ups. Some issues here and there, but I am so happy to have this show back in my life, finally. Silver Sacrifice gets 4 shades out of 5. That scene where Steel agrees to go with Blaze and Roxy, Nate just killed me, which is to say, Abraham killed it. Round of applause that I'm not going to do because of audio levels, to Abraham Rodriguez for one of the best emotional performances on this show in recent memory. Losing his brother in an impossible situation, his teary determination in going to rescue him, so good. The moral of the story here, which Burke does give in the episode's final scene in a way that almost had me reaching for Ninja Steel's Moral of the Day banner, is the importance of family. What I really liked about this is it's not just blood family that's stressed as important. It's not just that Nate and Steel are brothers. Nate and Steel are also Rangers, and the Rangers are a family as well. And I really like the 2 new Zords. Get upset about the Mantis Beetle thing all you want, but I really love triple transforming Zords. And the Mantis, Wrecker, third thing, spoilers, make this one good as gold. Steel Zord is a dual transformer, but it's just as cool. Scarab is a really cool animal theme for a Zord. Very Egyptian.
Walk like an Egyptian.
I will admit that Ben and Betty were not as bad in this episode as they have been in other ones, but the reason I included them this time is a scene that they were not in. The final scene. The humor comes from Steel, one of the Rangers, and it works! It's genuinely funny, so it's proof of what I've been saying. You do not need to have a comic relief duo. The Rangers can fill that role just fine. Ben and Betty get 2 eye-rolling slapstick comedy moments that I could have done without. Sure, their being captured did drive the plot forward, but that's not saying much. I really hate it when there's a plot contrivance that makes the plot possible that everyone just seems to ignore. If General Burke found out that Evox could hypnotize Devin and use him for some purpose, would he order Devin to be kicked off the team, or to make the comparison more equal, executed? No, of course not. Why? Because Devin's the Red Ranger. Steel's a Power Ranger too. None of the dilemma of this episode makes any sense when we consider that Steel is the Silver Ranger and vital to the Ranger's mission. General Burke looks like an idiot talking out of both sides of his mouth when he says they have to protect the city while ordering one of the Power Rangers to be shut down. It just really undercut this episode for me, sadly. All the fights seemed to conclude very quickly. Antennatron wasn't really even a monster of the day in his own right, just a MacGuffin so they could hear the Rangers' plans. He was never a direct threat and was taken out by a 2-Ranger finisher. The Zord fight was a little bit better, but we literally get a sequence that's just attack, boom, summon weapon, attack, boom. It's like they realized they were running out of time and had to rush this thing to the finish. However, these are rather minor complaints. The Steel as a Ranger thing almost reaches the point of major complaint, but doesn't quite get there. Beast Morphers has survived its hiatus and come back strong. Let's see what happens when Beast Morphers hits double digits with episode 10, Thrills and Drills. Ravi must face one of his worst fears when it interferes with his Ranger duties. Evox sends Blaze and Roxy to collect data on the Rangers' beast powers, promising to upgrade one of them if they succeed. Well, that is going to wrap up the return of Power Rangers Beast Morphers episode reviews. Thank you, heroes, so much as always for watching. And hey, if you're just coming back to my channel after the hiatus, welcome back and thank you for coming back. Make sure to like the video by hitting that thumbs up button right down below. And while you're down there, make sure you leave a comment letting me know what you thought of this episode as well as my review of it. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel to see all of my videos and ring that bell. Get your notifications set up so you'll be notified of whenever I post brand new Power Rangers Beast Morphers episode reviews. And if you'd like to support my channel in any way financially, you can head over to ko-fi.com/orangerangervideos where you can buy me a coffee. Good on the throat. Might get one of those right now. Those are set at $3 and I greatly appreciate any support I find at that site. Welcome back, Beast Morphers. Until next time, may the power protect you. Kaizoku, Chomsky, what have you got for me?
Not great news, I'm afraid.
All right, lay it on me.
Looks like Shiny was right. We scanned for the energy of that curse he gave you, and we found some sort of metaphysical tether.
So he was right. He can just pull himself right back.
Not quite. We've still got some time. His end of the tether keeps moving, shifting around. It seems like the Silver Skull is trapped in some kind of dimensional flux. Moving now would be like trying to climb a rope ladder inside a tornado.
Yeah, he's gonna need some time to anchor down his position first, but with his kind of power, he can do it. And then he can start climbing out and getting back here.
How long are we talking about?
No way to know. It depends what dimension he's in when he can lock the tether down.
Well, I guess it's back to work then. Reviewing Power Rangers and getting ready. It is finally time to get back to some brand new Power Ranger.
Yeah, he's gonna need some time to anchor down his
His kids catch up with him. There it is, the first blooper. It's the first blooper, and it's all the way down here. That scene where Steel agrees to go with losing his brother. Evox sends Blaze and Roxy to collect Dater. I'm gonna date her. I'm gonna date Roxy. I hope so. She's evil, but she's hot.